Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all today for our exclusive bootcamp, a day in the life of an integration manager. Mergers and acquisition, or M&A as we commonly call it, is more of a blending of companies with a vision towards growth and gaining competitive edge. Having said that, an M&A process is quite large with several aspects right from planning to integration. Now, amongst several of industry professionals, and integration is actually considered as the most critical part of an M&A. So the role of an integration manager hence is something which is considered quite important towards deal success. Uh, a 2015 PMI integration survey that we observed with Deloitte, it reported that from almost 800 executives that were surveyed, 30% mentioned that their integration efforts fell short of success. So we can clearly observe that integration comes out as a very important aspect of M&A, and the role of the person who makes the integration real is the one who makes the deal real. So having said that, I will now hand over the stage to my colleague Bala, who heads product for Mergerware, and he will today take us through this exclusive bootcamp where we are trying to understand a day in the life of an integration manager. Over to you, Bala.
Hey, thanks, Nilima. Hello everyone. So let's look at what does a typical integration manager do. Nilima gave set the stage more in terms of how critical the role of an integration manager is. Typically, this is a persona of an integration manager. John is an integration manager, and working in a really medium-sized company. And his main responsibilities are to manage the integration of an M&A deal for the organization. He gets alerted to a deal, and then he works and then ensures that the deal is taken towards closure. Certain measurements that are associated with the work that he does. So typically, it would be the KPIs, the key performance indicators of of the integration. How effective has the deal been, and has it been beneficial? Did it meet the objective of the deal when it started off with? So those are some of the key KPIs that are measured. And also the synergy, as follow up on how effective the two companies align, and then did they meet all their synergy goals, right? He uses a digital platform to manage the M&A process. That would probably more to ensure that the processes are repetitive, and then it makes his life much easier. Certain challenges that he faces in his role. One is to track the progress of the work stream. So a deal will have in a particular phase will have certain work streams that need to be executed. And how can he track the progress of the work stream? So that's one of the challenges. And then provide visibility to all the key stakeholders. You have senior management, you have probably the IMO, the Integration Management Office, and the other stakeholders. So how can he ensure that everyone is on the same page? So that's one of the challenges as well, right? And then collaboration and communication. There is, as I said again, with so many stakeholders, how can he ensure that there is seamless collaboration, between across all the stakeholders? And from a goals perspective. Of course, the main thing is he wants to ensure that he successfully manages the integration of the deal. If it's very effective and it meets the objectives. And again, from one of the challenges, he wants to ensure that there's seamless communication, there's effective collaboration across across the various business units or the functions which would be working on this deal. Right? So there are certain jobs to be done as part of his role. We'll again go through this when we go through the demo. So I've just grouped them under the four categories. Some are operational, more okay, creates a deal, adds users to the deal, and then adds all the work streams and all. And then comes the tracking part of it. How is the deal progressing? How are the various work streams progressing? Right, and then as in any project, deals will also have risks and issues. So how can he track the risks and issues that arise during the course of the integration. And then John also has to to look at some of the reporting, where is the what is the status of the overall deal, and also again on the risks and issues, what is the status of each of those issues and risks. And then there are the strategic activities we talked about, briefly mentioned KPI. So as part of the integration, his key activity or jobs to be done is to track the integration, key performance indicators. Okay, so let's with this, I think it set the stage for the demo of the platform, and more from John's perspective. As an integration manager, how can I what are the various activities that I do, and how can I effectively run or execute a deal. So that would be the the focus as we go through the demo. Right? So as we just to recap, one of the first tasks that he has to do would be to create a deal. So so we'll start off with that. Again, all the various attributes that that need to be entered to create a deal. What stage it is, what are the various, which country it belongs, is, and then what's the description and business unit that it belongs to. So once the deal is created, that's when it flows through the through the pipeline, and then we'll see how it can be effectively managed. Right. So for the purpose of this webinar, what I've done is I've already created a deal. So I'll take you through that. We'll come to the dashboard part in a bit, but what we'll do is we'll get into the deal management, and then we'll see, as an integration manager, what are the various activities or steps that I would need to do, right? So I've taken one of these deals as as example for this webinar. so so this is essentially the core of the platform. So as an integration manager, and once the deal is created, then I would have defined the stages, and the schedules for each of those stages. And then I would come here, and then one of the first things that I would do is identify the work streams, right? So I would let's say, for example, I'll take look at 100 days stage, and then I would import a playbook. And one of the easiest way to do is, and instead of creating all the activities, and I just import a playbook. So playbook is essentially the list of all the activities that I would need to do, to carry out to complete that particular stage, right? So for example, in this particular phase, you see all the all the various work streams, and then each of these work streams will have its own set of activities, right? So this is so these are some of the first steps that I would do. I would create a deal, I would identify the stage, and then as the as the deal goes through these various stages, then I essentially it flows through the different stages there, right? So once the playbooks are identified, then the next thing I would do is assign the users, right? So users would already be available on the platform, and then I identify who would be the various users who would be working on this particular deal, right? And then we'll have the different roles as well. Some of them could be stream managers, some of them could be users, and then some of them could be admins, and different roles. So depending on how my deal is structured, and what are the various roles that will have, I add all the users, I assign them the the roles to these users. and roles determine what are the various activities or permissions that they or activities that they can do, and what permissions do they have on that particular in the particular deal, right? So once I do this, as an integration manager, I only identify the stream up to the stream level, and then you have the users who would be team members who would be working on the individual tasks, and those users would be added would be assigned by the stream managers. So that way it ensures that the stream managers handle their manage their work streams effectively, right? So at this point of time, I have have assigned the user, assigned the work stream managers to the various streams. And assuming we'll take the same example, where this phase starts from first of May and then March and then goes through 12th of March, right? So as the deal goes through the this 2 weeks period where and I would want to complete this particular phase, basically which is 100-day stage, then one of the key things I would want to do is how do I track the progress, right? I would want to ensure that okay, we have this 2 week period, all the activities get completed within on time. So one of the I would want to, as an integration manager, I would want to see how the deal is progressing, and how basically how the work streams are progressing, and how the tasks are progressing, because that would give me the cumulative progress of the deal, right? So typically in these daily huddles or daily stand meetings, and I work with the stream managers, because for me this is the heart of my status, right? It gives me real time updates as to what's happening, as and when the users update the progress of their tasks. It gets reflected across all the upstream sections as well. So for example, the 7.1.2 task, and as the user completes this, the HR and rewards work stream gets updated, and similar, and ultimately the deal stage gets updated with how much of it is completed. So I work with the workstream managers. I ensure that that their tasks are actually tracked as we go through the through this particular phase. And again, as in any project, M&A deals will also have risks, will also have issues, right? And it's one of the things I would want to do is track the track the risks and issues. So as and when as and when the risks and issues come up, right? Users can raise risks, stream managers can raise risks, team members who are working on the deal can raise risks or issues. Then it's as a it's up to me to ensure that the risks are tracked to closure, right? So again, as a every time a risk is assigned to someone, a risk is raised, I get the notifications. I get I mean it comes up in the platform, and then it helps me to really monitor them. So one of the key, again, during the daily huddles is something that I would definitely do, right? So and again, as part of the activities, a lot of documents that get uploaded, right? We have a virtual data room, which is essentially used to uh, to upload the documents, so documents get uploaded, and then they get reviewed, and then as part of the activity they get tracked to closure as well. So again, we have the virtual data room here, and this helps us to categorize all the documents the way across across the various work streams. So it helps us in easily managing all the documents that get uploaded by the users, and then whoever gets assigned to the particular task of reviewing the documents, those users will get to work on the tasks, and as part of my daily reviews, I ensure that the those documents are reviewed, and if there are any things to be closed or any open items, I will ensure that those are addressed as well. Right. So this is essentially what I do. Once the initial the deal is created and the the playbook is created, added as well, the rest of the days goes into managing all the activities, ensuring that the activities happen on time. Any risks that are identified are addressed, any issues that are identified are addressed, and any access needed. Users might have problems in accessing some of the applications. If there's any additional access that they would need, then I work with the other stakeholders, basically the admin, to ensure that those are addressed as well, right? So so as the again through the various stages of integration, it could be year one, it's a similar process. Each of these will have certain activities that need to be completed, and I followed the same repeatable process. One of the advantages of having a digital platform is to would ensure that the process is repeatable, and any lessons learned would also be, get into the system as well, right? So while I do all this, again, we just briefly saw the dashboard. So I'll just come back to that now. So what this does, I mean, for one of the first things that I see when I log in would be the dashboard, right? So for all my deals, I can drill down to this, whatever the deals that I would want to work to kind of check the progress, and it gives me the all these are real time updates happen real time. We just saw earlier, in the deal management, when the users well, the users are updating the tasks, the percentage progress, basically the completion status gets updated, and this gets reflected real time in this dashboard. So looking at this dashboard would give me again real time updates on what's happening, what are the various risks and issues as well. As risks and issues get created in the deal by the various users, and these get reflected in the dashboards as well. So so collaboration, one of the challenges that we spoke of earlier, right, when we looked at John as an integration manager persona, is collaboration, working with a large team, distributed teams. How can you ensure that all the I mean, he gets in real time updates, he can easily collaborate with all the users. So these are the various tools, the dashboard helps me as an integration manager to really find out what's happening, right? And then becomes very useful when I have the my daily meetings or review meetings with the stream managers, and for me to communicate with the senior management, the IMO or the senior management, it becomes easier. Everyone will have visibility to the same set of dashboards. So essentially everyone is on the same page and addresses some of the challenges that we saw earlier, right? So again, to put it in a nutshell, as an integration manager, as I go through the phase and manage the activities, the dashboards would really help me to get visibility into the status of the deal, and also the deal management that we saw earlier, where it gets updated with how much of it is completed, what are all the dependencies, what are the risks, what are the issues, and then that really helps me as in my role. And in addition to this, and we look at it from the governance perspective, right? We looked at the operational part, we looked at the tracking part, right? And then the reporting part. So the platform has reports that would help me to really see what's happening. I'll just take the same example, right? Let's say I look at issues and risks, and maybe I'll select all. Right. So what we saw earlier, it kind of gives the more of an analytics in terms of what are the various risks and issues that are in that selected project. And one of the other things that I can also do would be the task status, right? Maybe I'll just take Fine, I'll just take one of these examples as well. So it would, it would kind of give me visibility into, what is the status of those respective tasks as well. So the two, the dashboard, the real-time dashboards, and these reports would really help me as as I track the deal through the various stages of integration, right? So the last one that we talked about, from a jobs to be done perspective is, from a strategic perspective, this more to do with, when as the deal goes through the various stages, I would want to, even the IMO or the integration management office or the senior management would definitely want to know, how is the deal progressing. Okay, they were, when the deal was closed, there were certain goals that were right, basically looking at, okay, this is what we want to achieve. For example, looking, maybe it would hit an EBIT of some numbers, sales of some numbers. So you were looking at some plans that were baselined, and then business plans, right? And then as it goes through the integration, even senior management would also definitely want to know how is the deal faring against those baselines that were thought to be achievable. And as an integration manager, I would also want to ensure that those objectives were met, right? So this is the last of those the four buckets that we had, was more strategic in nature. So what I would do is, I would look at tracking the post acquisition performance. So we look at the we'll again for this specific project, I'll take you through how it is done, and then we'll see, how it can be effectively carried out. So what what this does is, essentially helps me to track, the key performance indicators. So the organization, or the IMO would have basically identify some KPIs that that they would want to achieve. Maybe in terms of, it could be revenue, it could be it could be EBITDA, for example, and the gross margin. So there's certain lot of KPIs that can be that can be identified, right? And then so essentially the organization wants to ensure that these objectives are met, or at least tracked, which would say, okay, is this deal, is this been beneficial, or did it really meet the objective of this whole integration, right? So what I would what this helps you me to do is, as the deal progresses through the transition, I mean basically the integration, it really helps me to see, how the deal is progressing. For example, looking at sales, this is the baseline and this is the actual. So as it, over the various quarters, did it achieve the objective what it was originally set, or did it go below what the objectives were? So again, key indicators that would really give pointers to the management in, if any corrective action has to be taken as well. I mean, it could be any of the any of the attributes or the KPIs that have been identified, right? So this is one of the very important reporting information. So which helps me to really ensure that the integration progresses per what was originally thought of. What benefits that we thought that the deal would achieve. And to do this, again, as an integration manager, I can set it up. So what I would do is, again, when I start off in the beginning, I would I would identify what are all the key KPIs. We saw some of the KPIs earlier, right? We saw the like gross margin, EBITDA, or revenue, or any of these values. So I the platform gives a set of attributes, and again, depending on the organization requirements, and I can select the the various parameters, and even I can add different set of attributes as well, right? So once I do that, then I essentially I create a template. The template is okay. These are the set of KPIs or indicators that I would want to track, as the deal goes through this integration, and and then assign the template to the deal. So once this is done, for example, the Divas project that we saw, that had all those KPIs that that were identified there. And then someone from finance would look at baselining, when we talked about, right? And what I would want to do is, in the beginning, I would baseline all these KPIs, right? For example, we'll take the Divas clinic, and then I'll say, okay, for this year, 2021, these were all the baselines that was, right? So you set the baseline saying, okay, this is how we expect the deal to, to go, to behave, to reap the benefits as it goes through the integration. And then as the deal actually goes through the integration, someone again who has access to this, typically again someone from the finance team, would update the actuals, right? So this was, so essentially, for example, if say for example this Q1 sales was expected to be 10 million, and actually it was, yeah, it met met that particular objective. So for our order backlog was 8, and then the actuals was like 6. So as the deal goes through the integration phases, these get updated and gets reflected in the dashboards that you saw here, right? So that way, again, from an integration manager perspective, it would really give me the necessary information, right? To track the progress of the deal, and then communicate, okay, is the deal meeting the objectives, is it a success or a failure? Again, one KPI will not give us the information. As a collective unit, in all those 5 or 6 indicators that we identify, helps us to really see, okay, this deal was a success or this deal is a failure. So so to summarize, this is how as an integration manager, my time actually goes into a day would, again, quick summary, a day would go into tracking the progress of the deal, what are the various issues, ensure the collaborate, work with all the stakeholders, all the stream managers, and in the IMO office, to ensure that the deal progresses per the objectives, and then make use of the dashboards, communicate the status, and discuss with the senior management and other stakeholders on how the deal is progressing. And tools like Mergerware really helps us to effectively manage a deal and address some of the challenges that we saw earlier. So back to you, Neelima.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you so much for leading this extremely important boot camp, a day in the life of an integration manager. I think our audience and I can safely agree that the role of an integration manager is quite critical, and the success of an M&A really they would depend a lot on how successfully the integration is planned and implemented. So thank you, everybody. And with this note, I would also like to add that the recording of this webinar will shortly be shared. So thank you, Bala, and thank you to our audience. A big thank you.
Thanks, Neelima.